look around in here, you'll notice that there's paraphernalia everywhere. You got bookshelves, motorcycles, all this. All right, so I got stuff crammed in here everywhere. My brother's in the process of moving, um, so I've been helping him with that a lot on the weekends and stuff. So we've been moving a lot of his stuff, his motorcycle stuff, up here to my house. And so part of the reason why I haven't been putting anything out is because I've been busy. I've been, working. You get home from work, you're doing something else here, trying to keep the grass mowed and build a chicken coop. Uh, got it mostly done. I still got to put the batting on it, but I got to let the wood dry out a little bit. It was green pine, so I'm letting it dry out some before I put the batting on it. But I got the chickens out there now. They're not in my shop anymore, so that's good. So I don't have to smell uh, chicken fecal matter while I'm in here trying to work. So that's good. Um, just been busy, I've been, as they say, like a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. Just busy, A lot of stuff going on. Anyway, none of that has anything to do with anything. Uh, right here, this John Deere. This was Brittany's grandfather who lived up in North Carolina. This was his unit, and it got in the hands of her brother. And her brother was up here the other day, and he asked me if I wanted it, and I was like, yeah, whatever. I didn't even really. I knew what mower he was talking about, but I didn't realize that it was a diesel mower. I didn't know that. I just took for granted. I'm not a big John Deere fan. I'm really not. I'll be honest with you. I'm not. But if you have a real John Deere, not the ones you buy at Home Depot or Lowe's, if you have a real and a little bit vintage John Deere, they're pretty quality units. So this one's got a 3-cylinder yanmar diesel in it. Um, uh, it hadn't ran in, I don't know, a couple years. I heard it run probably 2 years ago. It needed a little bit of help. I'll put the clip of when I first got it to run on here. I got it to run on the trailer the day I brought it home. I changed the glow plugs in it because the glow plugs were a little shoddy. Probably the original ones. Um, so basically what we're doing now on this unit, we're going to do a little general service on it. So I'm going to change the Earl in it. The battery's not charging, and this thing runs, it's got power steering, electric fuel pump, all this kind of stuff. So it'll suck that battery dead pretty quick. And its alternator's not charging. And a very common fail point on these John Deeres is the voltage regulator. So I could have bought the factory style voltage regulator, but those are really hit or miss, the aftermarket ones. And if you buy the ones from John Deere, you're going to have to give an arm and a leg, because it's important to remember that modern John Deere doesn't want you to work on anything. They want your hay to rot in the field, uh, while you wait for them to work on it. They just lost kind of a lawsuit about that. Anyway, um, so I'm gonna piss John Deere off by working on this because I know they'd rather die. But anyway, so I got this voltage regulator right here. This one's supposed to be a little bit better. It's cheaper than the OEM one, certainly cheaper than the one from John Deere. And this one will mount in there. And there's a feller here in Georgia that's got a YouTube channel called Timothy's Tractors. And he has this exact unit, and he was having this very similar issue. And he's the one that recommended this one. So if you're into these kind of lawn tractors or whatever, if you're into this kind of stuff, you should check out his channel. He does a lot of stuff on these kind of machines. And he's a local Georgia boy, so he's down in South Georgia, I believe. So anyway, check his channel out. Anyway, we're going to put this voltage regulator on, verify that we can get it charging, because this thing likes to be, it likes a hot battery. It'll crank right up with a hot battery, but as soon as you run it around for a few minutes, you go to crank, you turn it off, go to crank it again. That battery's, it's amazing how fast that fuel pump and the rest of it draws that battery down. And it'll still turn over, but it's not turning over it's just a little too weak. So it'd be cool if this is the problem with the voltage regulator, that's the issue, which I suspect it probably is. So we're going to put that sucker on there. I ordered filters for the oil and the hydraulic, and I ordered the fancy John Deere high guard transmission slash hydraulic Earl, and Amazon screwed me. And they were supposed to deliver it with all my other stuff. All of it was going to come in, and they told me they delivered it, and then they lied. And they say now it won't be delivered till like July 11th. Because 2 day shipping can also mean like a week and a half or 2 weeks, whatever, you know. Thanks, Bezos. Anyway, so in the meantime, I'm not going to put on the transmission filter because I don't have the correct fluid to go in it. I'm just going to top off the fluid that's in it. Back in the day, this unit called for Type F automatic transmission fluid. Now John Deere recommends this fancy new high guard oil. So I was going to put that in it. But since we don't have it, we're going to top it off. It holds like 1.5 gallons. So all I could get was 2 quarts of this, is all they had at Walmart, because I'm not paying $11 a quart for Type F in Advanced. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it. I'll crawl through broken glass before I do it. So got this at Walmart, much cheaper, Type F, Super Tech. So we're going to put that in it. Hopefully that's enough to get it back up into the sight glass. It does pull itself. If you go up a little bit of a hill or anything, it slips ever so slightly. So I think it's probably just below the sight glass. So we're going to top it off with that. And then when we get the correct oil in, what John Deere recommends now, then we'll change the filter and the oil and do all that. So today we're just going to do the voltage regulator, and we're going to change the Earl in it, and hopefully that'll get those 2 things done. And then if that works out, then I'm going to jack it up here and get the blades out, because the blades are dull, as the kids would say, AF. Alright, they're dull, bad. Also, we're going to have to modify one of these guide wheels over here. Has been repaired in the past, and the way they did it, it makes it where you can't adjust it. So the deck's all the way down right now, but it's dramatically too high. I like scalping the grass. I want it short. All right. This is leaving it probably 4 inches tall. That ain't no. That ain't the way the Reclaimed Traveler rolls. Okay, so we're going to have to get that addressed, but that's going to be the last thing we do today. If we get to it, if the mood stabilizes, if we're good. Once we get her all dialed in, we're going to take her apart, take off this back panel area here and the hood and everything. Probably just touch up the hood. But we're going to paint her back up again, get her all nice, because this is an heirloom from her grandfather, who she was very close to. I unfortunately never got to meet him. But he was really into farm-alls, tractors, all this kind of stuff. And I would have loved to meet this man, because he sounds like he would have been just phenomenal. Cats meow, bees knees, as they say. And I hope that he would be glad that I'm trying to revive the old John Deere here. It shows that it's only got a little under 1,500 hours, but the meter, I don't believe, is fully hooked up anymore. So I'd like to see if we can't get the hour meter working again. But from what I understand, they didn't use this mower a whole lot because they had other ones they used. So even if it's got more than this 1,500 hours on it, it's probably only by maybe 200 or so. These Yanmar diesels apparently are known to go upwards of 10,000 hours before they need to be rebuilt. Now I think standard people consider it around 3,000 hours is when, if you're like a purist and you want to rebuild it before it needs to be. But there's a lot of guys on there claiming that they've gotten 10,000 plus hours out of a Yanmar 3-cylinder right here. So it runs good. It doesn't knock or anything. The oil in it is blacker than Satan's asshole. Um, and it's a wee bit over full, which does concern me because these, when the injection pump starts going bad on these, they will squirt a little bit of diesel into the cylinders, and that ends up in your crankcase. And this does have a faint bit of a diesel smell to it. It's not crazy. So we're going to drain it out, put some fresh in it, and we'll keep an eye on it. And if it starts filling up, adding to itself over time, then we know that it's leaking diesel. There's really not any other easier way to verify that. At which point, I guess we'll pull the injection pump off and have it sent off to have it rebuilt. Um, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. That's a bridge too far right now, you know. Other than that, the mower deck, this isn't the original mower deck, but it's off of like a contemporary one. It sounds pretty good. I don't hear any horrendous god awful bearing sound. So the mule drive up here in the front is kind of cocked cattywampus, if you will. I'm not sure what that's about. I might have to investigate that a little bit later, but we're not doing that right now. Anyway, let's get to work on this voltage regulator and see what we can't cipher on it. Also, I bought one of these heat guns, which I've been wanting for years. My brother used to have one that I used all the time. Because when I first cranked it, I kind of suspected it might have been overheating. I was kind of thinking the thermostat wasn't opening. I now since have changed that view. But either way, I want to verify what the temperature is, because all it has is an idiot light. But it should run somewhere between 170 degrees Fahrenheit and like 210. But they say you want it kind of like 180, which is pretty standard. But I think its safe range is up and around like 200, 205. And if you want to know what that is in Celsius, you should probably look it up. Anyway, so I got this to take a look once we get her back running. So yeah, that's enough BSing. Let's do the voltage regulator first. See how that makes us feel. And then we'll go from there. I went over to Harbor Town, got me the cheapest multimeter that they had. And I'm talking it's cheap. Alright, this thing was like $7. Alright, and it should be good enough for an old John Deere. And I got me some butt connectors and stuff that I've been meaning to buy. Anyway, so got those. This is the Earl filter. I could have got the John Deere filters. I opted to get the Wix filters. I like Wix. I think they're a good brand. I try to buy them on stuff like this, and I need to buy one for the CJ5 because it'll be time to change its oil. Probably past time actually, but either way. Anyway, that's enough chit chat. Let's get back to dicking around on the old John Deere. Anyway, it's good being back with y'all. Hope y'all are all having a good time. It was just the 4th of July. Hope y'all had a good time with your family and whatnot. I realize it's dark in here, but I don't have any of my other lights in here, actually. I might roll the unit forward. It might get it in a little bit better light. This thing's heavy as lead. Oop, hit the camera. Hitting the camera. But these things are highly sought after units, apparently. I knew there was a kind of a cult following thing for lawn tractors and stuff, but they're very proud of the John Deere 332 on the old interweb. So it doesn't make any difference to me It's an heirloom piece, and even if it wasn't, I'm still not getting rid of it, so it don't make any difference to me. Nobody knows how to turn down money better than the Right Clay Traveler just because he has a passing fancy for something. There's been many times where I made probably the wrong decision because I just didn't want to be that guy. Like, I could have took the engines out of them FJ, or all those FJs, out of them FC 150 and 170. I could have used them engines. But instead, I didn't want to be the guy hacking up an original FC 170. So then I just sold them for less money. But hey, I was a purist about it. So, alright. So there's been some serious wiring going on here that could be some of the problem here. There's some very poor looking connections. From what I understand, you take these two wires, they go to the two yellow ones, and then you got a red one that goes, I think it goes to the starter. Let's take this voltage regulator off, get it out of the way. We can look at the back of it, and you can tell usually if it's corroded or swelled up or something, and that'll kind of tell you if it's jacked in there. Because this thing converts, I can't remember how it is, it converts DC to AC to charge the battery or something or other, I don't know, Edison versus Tesla, something or another, I don't know. I'm not a wiring guy, I've never claimed to be. Don't expect the Regulator Traveler to know anything about wiring, because he does not, and never has. You've never heard me claim that I did. Don't come for me, as the kids say. Alright. Actually, it don't, lots of times they'll be swelled up right here. And like, almost busted. So this one ain't like that, so we'll keep it on the shelf in case this new one don't work out, and we got the original one that'll line up with the wiring schematic. But we're gonna try this fancy one here, see how it treats us. I've got you a little bit farther back because the lighting's not good enough, and I can't find my auxiliary light. This one's made in China, so you know it's probably good. Let's see here. I don't know what the hell kind of connector that is. We're going to plop it off of here. And that one's no bueno as well, so we're going to cut it off like that. Now before I put this one in, I'm going to go ahead and strip this and connect it to something. Because it'll make it easier than trying to do it with it in place. I reckon we'll use this piece of red wire right here because it's pretty thick. And it's laying right here, and I don't have to get up to go get something else that I probably don't have and it's the wrong color. So we just need a little bit more length out of it. Hell, if anything, that might be oversized. If you hear that noise in the background, I don't know if y'all have them where you're watching from, but those are cicadas. And this time of year, in Georgia anyway, and across the Southland, you get to hear that sound all the time. And if you're a southern man and you love your southern roots and whatnot, that's a very almost melancholy feeling, because when I was a kid, when you started hearing those ramping up again, That meant it was almost time to go back to school, and that ran a shiver of fear down my back because I hated school. Uh, you know, even as a child, I didn't like being propagandized to. Anyway, um, but they're very. I realize they have them in other states. I don't know if they have them out west or not. I guess I don't know, but it's a very southern thing. It's like a magnolia tree, and what it always makes me think of is those conquistadors when they came here back in the day, when they came into Georgia, for example, back in the 1490s, early 1500s. You know, I highly doubt that they'd ever heard that sound before, and it was probably deeply concerning to them when they heard it the first time. And you know, I just often wonder about that. Like, what the hell were they thinking when they heard that sound and saw some of these animals around here that they'd never seen before? It was probably quite disturbing to them, I would imagine. All right, we got that connector on. Let's get our. What the hell am I doing with it? I just had it in my hand. Oh, drag. Get this one crimped in here. Seems to be on there pretty good. Not pulling apart. We even got some heat shrink, which is pretty handy to have. I know this is probably like watching paint dry, but I'm hoping y'all are just enjoying spending some time with the Regulator Traveler again, you know? And I'm switching it up. You always hear me carrying on about Willys. What about a John Deere 332? What about that? This thing's diesel, alright? I think it's 16 horse, 16 or 17 horse diesel. You know, like the old song, Diesel Smoke, Dangerous Curve, you know? Back up, we got the wire. Ooh, that's good. Just slam it down on the ground, the new voltage regulator. That'll be great for it. Let's see. I'm just gonna set y'all even farther back because the lighting is so terrible it doesn't make much difference. I'll pick up a new voltage regulator that I just slung down on the ground and we'll get back to it. How about that? Alright. I kept this wire in the CJ5 because you never know when you might need a hot wire or something. We'll use white on this. I'm gonna cut it a little over length here. Just I'll cut it down once we get to where we're going. Alright, that's good. It took enough tries, but it's good now. Get a piece of heat shrink. Alright, there we go. Alright, so now that's ready to put on. We'll get our little zizz wheel here and clean up this ground some so it makes good contact. serve this sucker ground. It's a lot better than it was. Alright, there's that installed. So now we got to take, should be this red wire, I reckon. I don't know, because there's been some shenanigans going on here with the wiring. But this one goes up here to the starter, but then you got another red one that goes up to the starter, but it comes out of the harness. And another red one goes to the starter. So those should be just ignition, I would believe. One of those is original connection, it looks like maybe, and the other one's some shenanigans. So we're going to assume that this is the correct wire going to the starter. So we're gonna cut it off. We could be making everything like so much worse where now it won't run at all. I don't know. We're just trying here. These flies are just. Gotta be careful with these butt connectors. I ain't got any more, I don't think. We'll hook that one to this one. So now when we hook up our battery, theoretically, if the alternator's not bad, and I've hooked this shit up right, theoretically, we should have some charging action. And that's a lot of maybes right there, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know. We'll find out. We might have did all this for nothing. But let's get out our really, really cheap voltage meter here. See if it works. And it comes on. So. Either way, we should be able to tell if it's doing stuff. Yeah, we're going to get to hear it run here in just a second. So, just bear with me. Hopefully, you'll get to hear it run. At least that's the bloody plan. Things surprisingly quiet. It might be loud in this building, but riding on the unit, it's surprisingly quiet. It's quieter than a snapper lawnmower, I can tell you that. That's what I've been relying on. And don't get me wrong, the cut's fantastic on the old snapper, alright? But 26 inches to mow all this grass, whew, it takes a second. Alright. Hopefully, she'll bust off. I don't know. I might have wired this up all wrong. I don't know. Let's check the volts again without it running and see what it says. Even though the number is going to be wrong, apparently. 27.3. Don't make any sense, but that's what it is. Alright. Ignition. Engage. See the sucker will crank up. She did, in fact, crank up. All right, now we're at 29.3. 30.7, so it is charging. I know those numbers don't make a damn difference because they're too high. But it is charging now, it appears. Everything purrs like a kitten, let me tell you. I ain't never used one this cheap. To be honest with you, I ain't never used one much. I do a whole lot of guessing, all right? That diesel smoke will get rid of them flies, hopefully. I'm going to pour some of the top F in it. We'll run it around for a second, make sure everything's all right, because I want to check the temp and get the oil warm and everything. Ooh, that brake clean burns. Yeah. It's got a little sight glass back here, so you got to pour a little in and then check the sight glass, and you want it kind of half-ass in the middle of that sight glass. Of course, I can't see the bloody sight glass. Still ain't got nothing in it. say, it holds about 1.5 gallons, so. We got a little bit in the sight glass, and we broke the top off of our damn brake cleaner. That's great. There's a brand new can. That's good. We'll add a little bit more to it. We'll call that good enough. Let's check the temperature of it now. Alright, so the block itself is about 169. Radiator, about 147. Exhaust is only 132. Now right there at the manifold, right where it comes out, it's over 200. Good. I'm going to go take it for a test run, and then I'll come back in here. Hell yeah. And we'll see if it cranks back up.